Hello, Freedom Youth. I'm so glad that you're here with us today. My name is Joy, and today we're going to talk about what it means to own your story. Before we begin, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever thought about what it means to own your story? Turn to your neighbor and share your thoughts. Okay, thank you for sharing. Today I want to talk to you about one of my favorite stories in the Bible, the story of Esther. Esther was a nobody turned somebody. She was a shy girl who was born into a family who had been persecuted, yet God chose her to be their deliverer. For a long time, she hid who she was. She hid her weaknesses, her culture, her family, her history, because she was scared that revealing who she was would end in death. But one day, her cousin challenged her and told her that God had called her to her own story and speak up for those who needed her the most to prevent them from being killed or persecuted. And you know what she did? She was scared, but she did it. Let's stop for a minute. I want you to imagine what would have happened if Esther would have kept hiding, never sharing her story. Turn to your neighbor and imagine, just for a minute, what do you think would have happened? Thanks for sharing. And you're exactly right. If Esther would have never owned her story, her and her family could have been slaughtered. So let me ask you this. How many times in your life have you been afraid to share your story or your past with others? Maybe you thought you were too young. Maybe you were scared if someone found out that they would talk about you or discredit you somehow. Maybe you were scared of getting in trouble or getting someone else in trouble. But we have to remember that God made us a promise. When it comes to owning our story, He said in Jeremiah 1:7-10, "Do not say, 'I'm only a youth,' for to all to whom I send you, you shall go, and whatever I command you, you shall speak. Do not be afraid of them, for I am with you to deliver you, declares the Lord." Then the Lord puts out His hand and touched my mouth. And the Lord said to me, "Behold, I have put my words in your mouth." The scripture tells us that regardless of our age, God has equipped us to share anything He commands us to speak, including our stories. And we don't have to be afraid to share them because He has already placed the words in our mouth that He wants us to say. Okay, let's stop for one more time. What do you think are the benefits of owning your story? Share with your neighbor. sound like good benefits. Now, here are 3 benefits that I believe owning your story provides you. Number 1, it provides healing for yourself and for others. It's a key to unlock doors of favor, and it's the weapon you need to defeat the enemy. But when we own our story, he has no way to attack us. And when we share our story, it's knocking him out with punches. I want you to remember that your story matters. It's a part of who God has created you to be. It's a part of your testimony, and it's also a part of your healing. So next time someone asks you to share your story, don't be afraid. Share your story. Good night, Freedom Youth.